y'all? How's everybody doing? I almost died last Tuesday, but you know, what's new? Looks like I have a lot of explaining to do. I had originally already made a video, but due to all of this mess right here, I thought, you know what, maybe I should re-record it, because y'all know me, I'm a person who's all about spreading positivity, I don't want to pull y'all into my dark side. I guess I will start this video by clarifying some confusion. I had posted a video earlier this year in honor of it being 5 years of my official diagnosis of lupus nephritis. I believe because of that, people were confusing my more recent posts with, I guess they thought that I was posting old experiences and just to have something to talk about. It wasn't until some of y'all heard me talking about the tragic, unfortunate passing of Kobe Bryant and his daughter and the others in a helicopter crash is when y'all kind of figured, maybe she's talking about something new. So yeah, to clarify that, the stuff that I've been posting about, the stuff that I'm talking about in this video, are current issues that I'm going through right at this very moment as I'm talking and doing Mr. Bernie-like hands right now. So basically, since 2020 started is when I started experiencing these symptoms that I typically do not. It first started with a really bad headache, which transitioned into a really bad migraine really fast. At first, I was seeing a little bit of floaters in my eyes, which turned into these bright flashing lights that I was seeing constantly all day, every day, out of both of my eyes in my right peripheral vision. I went to see a neuro-ophthalmologist and everything. They checked me out. They said that my eyes looked good. There was no detachment of the retina, which I kind of was paranoid about that I did. They believed that it was more of a neurological issue. Around the second week of January was when I was admitted into the hospital for the first time of the year. They did 4 MRIs at the time, a CAT scan, and an EEG to rule out any strokes or seizures, which at the time I was told none. So that was good. One thing that the MRI did discover though is that I have a blood clot in my brain. So they started me on blood thinners, Xarelto by the way, along with sending me home with a medication called Topamax for my migraines. Unfortunately, the Topamax wasn't exactly doing anything for me. I was still experiencing pain constantly all day, every day. I went back to ER for a second time, which then I wasn't admitted because they couldn't exactly really find out what was wrong with me. So they just upped into my dose of Topamax. And you know, as lupus fate would have it, my symptoms worsened even more. Not only was I experiencing migraines that were just worsening over time, the flashing lights were transitioning from just flashing lights to just me losing my vision really. And what made things even worse was it started to like mess up with my memory. I was losing composure. I was getting lost around my own house. I do remember one time when I was in the restroom, I did circles around the restroom because I was like, what door leads me out of here? And even before leaving a certain room, I would be like, how do I turn off this light? Where's the switch to this one? What does this light switch go to? It was just really weird and confusing. So this kept going on for a good 3 weeks until last Tuesday when I had woken up out of a seizure. At the time, I did not know that that was happening. I was told that I wasn't having seizures, so that was the last thing that I was expecting. So of course, it scared the absolute crap out of me. So my boyfriend Chris had woken up at the same time that I did. Whenever I was waking up out of the seizure, he asked me what was wrong. I remember saying to him, something just happened to me. I don't know what, something just happened to me. Because I was shaky, I was disoriented. I had just that awful, dreadful feeling that something bad was gonna happen. So he asked me what I wanted to do, and I said straight up, call 911. Please call 911. I was begging him to call 911. With the way I was feeling at the time, I thought that they weren't gonna make it. And I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I thought that this time lupus finally found a way to get through to me and win. And I remember whenever Chris was on the phone with 911, telling them about my situation and me hearing that they were within the neighborhood, I was sitting at the edge of the bed. My heart started racing really fast out of nowhere. I couldn't catch my breath. And it was just like this overcoming feeling of pain, confusion, and just loss, a feeling of not having enough time. So of course, within my unfortunate experiences in the past, I thought that this might have been my time to go. The option to live and the option to not live was right in my hands. And there was something in me that was telling me, Thina, if this is too much for you, just let go. Just give in. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I was this close to just allowing myself to collapse on the floor in front of Chris. I felt it. It almost happened. But luckily, the inner fighter in me kicked in and told myself that if I had any kind of energy, strength, any little bit of fight in me left, to use all that energy that I had left to focus on finding a motivation to push forward, to fight through. So in that time, whenever I was feeling like the end is near or whatever, I used all of my energy to stare at my boyfriend while focusing on breathing, because looking at him reminded me of, I am not gonna cry. Looking at him reminded me of how much I still wanted to do my life. And I told myself that I couldn't just give up when I had so many people on my side supporting me, showing me love, believing in me. So who was I to not believe in myself as well? Luckily, I fought through. I'm sitting here able to tell y'all the story. So the ambulance brought me to the hospital. I was admitted again for the second time of the year. They ran more tests. They did a lumbar puncture to make sure that there was no kind of infection going on in my spinal fluid. I had 3 seizures overall that day, which is not in my norm. The last time I had a seizure was back in 2015. The good news is, out of all the tests that they've done so far this year, with the exception of some of my numbers being a little bit off, all of my tests came back negative. So that's always a good thing for somebody with lupus. The bad news is the fact that they still can't exactly figure out what happened to me. Like, why I had the seizures, why I started getting migraines, why I started having vision and memory loss, yada yada yada. They started me on the seizure medication called Keppra, which is something that I took in the past, and my body responded well then. It's still responding well now. I am luckily now not suffering from terrible migraines anymore, terrible pain. I started getting a little bit of my vision back maybe a couple of days ago. I'm starting to get familiar with my house now versus the first time when I came back home. I was like, were the hallways always this narrow? Was it always this long? What's this? I currently cannot drive. I currently cannot work. The only thing I can really do is just focus on recovery. I learned a lot actually from this unfortunate event of 2020 so far. An epiphany that came to my mind was that I was a big fool to believe that I had lupus 110% under control. I thought that I wouldn't ever be back at the hospital doing treatments. I thought I wouldn't ever be in this place where I have no clear answer with what is happening to me. The things that I learned from this incident that I would like to share with my people out there with lupus or just chronic illnesses in general. 1, don't ever wait on anything. If you feel like something is wrong, seek help immediately. I did let myself wait for things to get worse because of my natural state of being in denial and not wanting to accept what was happening. Second thing I learned is to be realistic instead of overly hopeful. And I don't mean to say that in like a negative Nancy type of way. The closer you come to accepting something, the easier it is for you to handle it. And the third thing that I learned, which I should have known all along, was it's so totally okay to cry. Throughout the whole 3 weeks of all this BS happening, the confusion, the pain, the fear of dying, this and that, I never allowed myself to cry. I never allowed myself to feel. I became really emotionally and mentally robotic. until one day in the hospital, and I was just overwhelmed with everything. I just allowed myself to bawl, and I bawled. But right after that, I felt so much better because I wasn't suppressing myself anymore from being human. So yeah, don't suppress yourself from being human. It's okay to be human. It's okay to cry. So yeah, I hope I explained things kind of somewhat clearly. I don't have exact answers because I don't have exact answers. I just want to say thanks to everyone who has tried to call me, who has sent me messages, expressing concern, expressing love and support. They do not go unnoticed. I will eventually get back to each and every one of y'all. I'm just letting myself slowly recover instead of trying to rush the process. I need to trust the process, not rush it. A lot of y'all have asked me if y'all could do something for me to let y'all know. The only thing I really want y'all to do for me, it sounds so simple and cliche, but enjoy your life. Don't be so hard on yourself. Appreciate the time that you have. I can definitely vouch for that, to not take time for granted anymore. And at first I was even gonna wait and hold off to make a video to explain things, but I told myself, what if I don't have that time anymore to actually do this? So no more wasting time. I don't even want to say be happy, because sometimes it's kind of hard to be happy. Just be content enough for you, and don't forget to focus on yourself. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. Until next time. Actually, it's probably time I add another butterfly to this finger, but I'm gonna have to wait to be off blood thinners for that. Oh well, I got time.